You're listening to Words About Books, a podcast where we say words about books. On that note, we're wrapping up part 3 of RF Kuang's The Dragon Republic, and I have some words for you, Ben. See,
okay.
I need to preface this by saying I haven't actually read part 3. I'm actually reading it as we record live, which is what I always do. Never mind the fact that it sounded like I read it in the previous episodes of this podcast. I'm very good at predicting things, so shut up. I'm reading it now. So I am on Team Viceroy, Ben. And Viceroy, he has a dream, okay? He has a dream of bringing freedom and democracy and liberty for everyone in the car. One day, he wants every man, woman, and possibly child to have the freedom to vote for him as head of state. He is taking power so that he can give it to the people. And I have a question for you, okay?
Okay.
Why do you hate that, Ben? Why do you hate this true visionary man of the people? What about that makes you so upset? You jerk.
I don't really have a problem with what Visor's doing.
Okay, then no conflict at all. You're welcome back into the party.
Okay, yeah. The only question I have for Viceroy is, how is he going to get the Hesperians out of his country once they take his republic for him?
Okay. Now, as someone who hasn't read part 3, clearly, I could just kind of guess that he's got a really great, solid master plan. He's already got a great plan for getting them on board, which is to just let them speak down to him and make him look like a chump at every turn. So I'm sure he has an equally amazing and strategic plan for getting them out of his country after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like transparent that Viceroy is gonna wind up being a puppet ruler for the Hesperians who are essentially colonizing Nikara right now.
The Hesperians are here as observers and allies of our glorious leader Viceroy. Okay?
You know, it does, this is probably your point. It does make Star Trek seem a little problematic, doesn't it? How like this civilization that is much more technologically advanced, and how did they get that way is a little morally questionable. They decide, they take it upon themselves.
By being morally righteous, that's how they got that way. But go on.
They take it upon themselves to just treat other entire civilizations of sentient beings like children who need to earn their respect. And like that sounded good on paper, like the Prime Directive, but now it just sounds kind of like paternalistic colonial preaching.
Look, Ben, if a planet is about to erupt in flames and everyone on that planet will die, you can't interfere because they're not good enough to do it themselves. So you have to let every man, woman, child, and other die because they should have had the technology to be better by now, just like us. And that's why the Hesperians, they're letting Viceroy prove himself. Like, Viceroy, he's on the back foot right now. He just lost a major battle. He's losing all of his gains. His son is MIA. His navy is MIA. And, like, the Hesperians are giving him the chance to try to turn it all around on his own or die trying. I think that's really noble of them to have all this power. They could intervene and stop the bloodshed, but they don't because this is Vizra's war, and he should see it through.
In all seriousness, there's an interesting question here I want to ask you.
Okay.
What would be the right thing for the Hesperians to do?
As in, the right thing they should do with foreign affairs?
Yeah, so the Hesperians see that there is this war that has torn Nicara apart. It is largely due to their former interference with both Nicara and Mugen. It's thrown the entire region out of balance. And, just asking for a friend. If you were a world power that maybe had screwed up a few regions, and now you're looking to maybe help fix them.
Oh, okay. See. First of all, my response was going to be, don't get involved in the first place. It sounds like you're taking that option off the table.
Well, they're already involved. I mean, they could just walk away forever, but that
I was gonna say,
seems
just
like
pull out really quickly.
But I mean, it seems like they kind of destabilized the region in the first place, so now maybe they have like a moral obligation to the people of the region to not.
No. What they need to do is they need to overthrow the horrible dictator, okay? And then they need to try and fail to set up a democracy, and then they just need to stay there forever. Until
they just need
least,
to stay the course.
Decades. Stay the course.
Mission accomplished.
And eventually, in a couple decades, you'll forget that you're even over there, and you'll decide that it's time to pull out, and you do, and you just hope for the best.
Obviously, this was Kuang's intention in writing the book, to make you think about some of these things and make you think about the history of the actual world. But yeah, I don't know what the Hesperians could do right now. There's really no good way out of this, because they, like, who do you back? I mean,
you back Hesperia.
But do you back, like, okay, they back Vizra, and that's obviously going to go south. I know you're still reading it, so I'm sorry for that spoiler. But
crap. Damn it. Okay.
They could back the Empress, but she's not great either.
And she kind of hates them. For some reason. I can't imagine why she would hate them. They're bringing makerism to the masses. So I don't know why she would hate freedom.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, would it be better then for the Hesperians to go just, like, peace out and work on themselves for a few hundred years?
You could peace out and go work for yourself for a few hundred years. Or, and hear me out, you could just keep dumping resources into the situation and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting problem, because ordinarily...
So it's implied that Mugen went to war partially because Hesperia was, like, nudging them in that direction. So all Hesperia needs to do is find another Mugen and just keep throwing nations at this Nicara until something progress.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the World War II parallels, Japan, felt it needed to become a colonial power to compete with the colonial powers, and
I don't know where they got that idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's when you threaten somebody with overwhelming technological force, they got two options, and that is modernize or dig in and fight that guerrilla warfare, or become a colony. Yeah, it's a tough situation in the Dragon Republic. That's one of the things I like about the book is obviously there are things that the individual characters could do better. Like, the individual Hesperians are assholes.
Trash people.
Yeah. They
like I said, the best among them was a guy who was like, you're an inferior subhuman, but, like, we could still be friends. That's the best they get to.
Yeah. And I don't even know if that's better than just outright disdain.
That's fair.
I almost would prefer somebody just hate me than condescend to me constantly. I was kind of glad he died.
Well, yeah, I was kind of glad he died, but I assume on his Facebook page he's talking about how he's helping the masses and he's bringing Makerism to backwards Nikara.
Yeah.
One like equals one saved soul.
He probably has the coexist bumper sticker.
Yeah, he seems like that type of person.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know as political entities. I don't know what the Hesperians should do. I don't know what the Nikarans should do, because the Empress sucks. Visera sucks. The Hesperians.
Wait, whoa,
suck.
hold on. How does Visera suck when he's a freedom-loving freedom guy? Freedom.
Well, we've talked about that in the previous episode. Is what kind of democracy could this nation really hope to have?
You vote for Visera.
Yeah,
and
well,
he
exactly.
does all the work for you.
I mean, exactly. Like, you can't have a democracy where you have no way of making an informed choice about your candidates.
Well, that's your informed choice. A vote for Visera is a vote against being put in a camp somewhere.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and I guess...
Wouldn't your life be so much better if you weren't in a work camp being worked to death? Exactly. Vote for Visera.
I was going to say, as someone who's not currently in that situation, I will say it's preferable. Yeah, the political situation. I mean, and I think that's... I said before, like, this book does what grimdark fantasy so often wants to do and kind of fails to do. I think a lot of grimdark fantasy just sort of becomes a hyper-violent Lord of the Rings, but the Poppy War trilogy really does convey a sense of just hopelessness. And it's not hopelessness because there is hope, but it is just all these people caught in a machine of politics that none of them will ever control. I mean, for all the Phoenix power Rin has, she's still manipulated by the Viseras and the Empresses and the Hesperians, and even if she returns to being a walking nuclear bomb, she's still not, like, that's not going to feed her people.
It will feed their bloodlust. Checkmate, Ben.
Well, and so when Kuang set out to explore the idea of how somebody from relatively humble beginnings becomes ultra powerful and how that power seems to corrupt, I think I haven't read the final book, but I think she's going to achieve that. I don't know what anyone should do in this situation. I
vote for Visera.
I constantly found myself rooting for the characters to just go off into the mountains and never look back. I don't know what else you do. This situation is foobar. You just start over. You just burn it all down and start over. Which, hey, that's like a phoenix. Oh my god.
Did you just make that?
As I was saying it, I realized what I was saying. Shit, dog. That's smart. I wish I could write like that. We should talk about the book now.
Yeah. Yeah, so last time, Visera was just winning and winning and winning. And then his entire navy got wiped out in one climactic battle. His son is MIA. Both of his sons are MIA, actually. Rin and Kite are also MIA. They were picked up by some hinterlanders, which you're not supposed to call them that, but I forgot to write down what they call themselves. And Visera, you know, he just needs, what's the sports metaphor now? He just needs to win another, like, several games to get back into the red.
He just needs to tie it up in the fourth and go into overtime and hope that everything works out.
He needs to tie it up in the fourth with his, like, fifth string quarterback, some guy he just grabbed from the stands.
And like, send Johnny in to sweep the legs of their quarterback. So maybe he needs to cheat. He just needs to start cheating.
But, luckily, he's still got his southern warlords who have, next to no army, and he's still got Solon, so he's still got a fighting chance, but it looks grim. and that's where we left it. Rin and Kite spend several weeks lazily rafting down a river and figuring out how the Phoenix powers work. Do you want to say anything more on that?
Only that Kite being affected by Rin using the Phoenix powers is just kind of entirely abandoned by the end. I mean, maybe
Rin didn't have to see him, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't see Kite, so maybe he's just, writhing in pain on a rock. Yeah, but...
Whenever they do an adaptation of this, they just need to have Kite in the far distant background screaming. Every time she uses firepower. You know what? You know what we don't get, by the way? We don't get anyone using a bucket of water to defeat Rin.
Well, no, we don't get that. But we do get Rin's... I'm going to say this is the clear love interest, if there is such a thing. I don't think anybody's ever going to get together romantically in this book because I don't think this book has a happy ending. But
no.
Neja is a water shaman.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous for Rin. That's foreshadowing.
Yeah. And hot. Am I right?
Well, I mean, he's attractive, yeah.
Except for his face.
No, that's just no, that's just the Zuko effect. That just makes it more interesting.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I did picture Zuko a few times, actually. So yeah, Rin finally makes it back to Viceroy, and Jinja hasn't shown back up yet, but some of the Psyche have, and I guess Neja and a handful of soldiers do make it back from that total curb stomp ass whooping that they ran into last time.
Is that the military term for it?
That is the military term for it. When you get that stomped into the ground, there's no other way to describe it. He has a war council called, and they're like, yeah, we just got fucking wrecked, sir. Turns out they had a navy all along, and also a guy who could just throw wind around.
And it turns out all the people who warned us that Jinja's attack on the lake was ill-advised and that they should turn back and take it easy for the winter. All those people were correct, and Jinja was wrong. And...
Oh wait. Do you hear that? Oh my God! There's someone at the door. Guards, go search that man. Oh, it's a guy who all he has is a wooden box inside of a little plastic bag, and oh man, that's the thing I ordered. Get him in immediately. I'm Visor, by the way. Oh man, I'm wringing my hands. I'm drooling. I can't wait. I ordered these dumplings a month ago, man.
18 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell is this? These dumplings are cold and rotten. And this isn't pork. This is my firstborn son. What the hell, man?
Yeah, the Empress sends her regards. Motherfucker.
Yeah, well, guess what? I put down cash for the tip option. You're not getting a tip. Oh wait, actually, here's a tip. Wear fireproof clothing next time. Go get him, Rin.
Oh no, I'm burning. I'm on fire. Oh no.
All right, now I'm just gonna pull out my iPhone. I'm gonna go into the app, Nakara Num Nums. It's kind of a rip off of DoorDash.
Is it? Is that what this is? Is that what we're doing? I hadn't realized what we were doing. Yeah,
we're going to customer service. I was displeased that my dumplings came cold and took a month to get here. How can we rectify this situation?
And were made out of my firstborn son.
Well, I could have at least enjoyed him if he were warm.
Is it weird that I think the scene would have been more effective had the dumplings been more tempting to eat?
Yeah. Yeah, they should have been warm.
Yeah, is it weird that I think, like, in all honesty, I don't know how that would practically happen, but, like, I actually think they should have been fresh. Like, that's my one correction. I want
agree,
fresh
and I want
human
a
meat in my
refund for
dumplings.
Oh, customer service has got back to me. They said,
I could have
don't
killed your
worry.
whole family.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have some more dumplings for you right away because we're coming for you. Okay, cool. They're gonna take care of it.
Well, Ren, I'll be in my office. Click. Car door slams. Engine starts. So Vizra is understandably upset, as we all are when we wait 40 minutes for DoorDash and they forgot half the stuff.
But
Are you okay? Are you just
luckily,
laughing at the DoorDash?
Luckily, he still has Solon on his side. So, oh wait, what's that? Oh, customer service has got back in touch with me. This is Solon. Go fuck yourself. I'm defecting. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, no, your Dasher has sent you a message. F you, I'm defecting. Again, I get that. Like 1 out of 3 DoorDashers defects to the enemy army on me.
Again, that's because he put cash as a tip. You always got to tip in advance, dude.
Yep, that's the lesson Visor should have learned.
Yeah, and now he's got even fewer people in his army. So that's unfortunate.
And the Imperial Navy has doubled overnight.
Yes.
Oops.
Whoops.
What I did like, though, is that when Solon texted him to tell him he was defecting to the enemy delivery company, that he was like, I know you have my wife and child hostage. Tell him I said, sorry. Stone cold move from Solon.
Tell them I said oops. I forgot that you were there.
Tell him I just picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies.
So, and on top of it all, there are a shitload of southern refugees that have been fleeing the Muganese who are still around in the south.
I don't 100% know why they even let them in.
Well, they didn't let them in the city, but they let them, like,
they let them in the gates.
The
they're in the walls.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I thought they were outside the walls.
No, I think they're in the walls. They're just not, like, the city's a bunch of islands, and so they're not on any of the main islands.
Visra, bro, you're supposed to use them as human shields, okay? You use them...
Well, that wouldn't work either.
As an extra wall between your walls.
Yeah. Let them absorb with their squishy meat some of the cannon fire.
Yeah. Yeah. You give them whatever farming implements they can get, and you say, when the enemy comes, you charge them. I know that they're on ships, and they've got a guy who can throw wind and stuff, but just try and overwhelm them. This
feels like more of your Joseph Stalin fanboying.
I didn't want to mention Stalin, but I was thinking it.
This is going to become like a running joke in Words About Books. That
It is.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he lets them in. I mean, so it seems like the entire country is in a pretty severe famine right now.
Right. The South had one job, and that was to grow food that wasn't infected with mustard gas poison. And they failed. And now they can't back out because they don't have a strong enough army to do anything on their own, and they need Visra.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that, because I do have a slight issue with that.
What about the fact that Neja is like, he's like weirdly pro-Southern for some reason all of a sudden, or pro-refugee, one of the two, and like Rin wasn't. Kind of
I
weird.
remind me what happened here because this was not a part I really dialed in on.
Okay, well, that means I'll have to like open up my book.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were reading this as we went, so it should be very fresh for you.
Well, yeah, I also have problems with retention, so you know. I forget the book like pages after I'm done reading it. I guess we could talk about while I'm looking at this. Rin goes looking for Tutor Feyric, but then accidentally runs into her stepbrother and her aunt instead. I realized she wouldn't want to see her aunt because her aunt was an abusive piece of shit, but she really doesn't seem to give a damn about her brother, her kid brother.
Yeah, I think this is worth talking about, actually, because this is one of the parts of the book I like. I did dial in on this piece. So the refugees that are pouring in from the south, I mean, Rin was raised in the south in Rooster province, and she looks for her tutor, but not her family, as you said. And when she finds the family, she's like, "Oh yeah, that kid I liked." The thing is, it's Rin feels like she should have some attachment to these people, especially what's his name? Kasegi?
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering that, but he was a baby when she left, or a toddler, and
Yeah, and she constantly thinks, well, I shouldn't say constantly, but occasionally when she thinks about him, she's like, he's like the one thing that she liked about Tikane.
I pronounced it Tikane. I don't think she. I mean, he was innocent. He hadn't hurt her, but we all like babies. Like
Yeah.
we all like puppies. They're innocent, but did she really like him? Did she really have a specific attachment to him? Or was he just the cute, innocent thing she knew? Like, if it meant having to go back to the life she had in order to protect him, would she? I don't think so.
No.
And
She never even writes him, which is a point of contention between the two of them. She basically just cuts him off from everything and pretends that he doesn't exist anymore.
well, and it's very easy for her to do because she legit doesn't. I mean, she spent her whole life in Tikani in an abusive situation, and when she got out, she never looked back, and good for her. It struck me as pretty emotionally honest because Rin is not a likable character.
Yeah, like you said earlier, she has spent a lot of time talking about how she probably should care about X, Y, or Z, but she really just doesn't.
Yeah, and so when I say Rin's not a likable character, I don't mean that she's not a sympathetic character. I just mean, like, you probably wouldn't want to be friends with Rin because I don't know if Rin is capable of being friends with anyone. Look at the people she's close to. Kite. Look how they're doing now.
Really great. They're now bound together.
I don't even think Rin's affection for Kite is real. I think Rin has suffered so much in her life that she has completely lost the ability to form real emotional bonds with other human beings. I think people are just a means to an end for her. She is like full-blown survival mode all the time. It does hurt her when people who are close to her die or are lost, but I think she's grown pretty much numb to it. And Kasegi, he can't do anything for her, and he never did do anything for her, and she's not his brother. He was a kid she was forced to raise because she was basically in an indentured servitude situation. And it struck me as just very emotionally honest that she would have at best, complicated feelings towards him. Mostly of guilt that she didn't feel any more towards him. Like, I think Rin knows there's something wrong, but there's no therapist for her to talk to right now. The best she has is kind of the shamanic religious practice, which everyone she
can
meets...
talk to the Phoenix. No big deal.
Well...
The Phoenix will tell her exactly what she needs to do.
Kill your parents. Kill everyone.
There are other forces she could commune with that seem a little bit more wholesome, but the problem is the shamans all have an agenda. The hinterlanders have been hurt by the Nikarans, and they don't have much of an interest in helping Rin to any kind of true understanding. The only person who was interested in that was Zhang, who is now in some kind of hell state. And then we even learn that Zhang, it wasn't even the real Zhang. He's like a fractured personality after Zhang succumbed to the loss of memory resulting from his powers being sealed. So there really is no one in Rin's life who Rin could have just an emotionally healthy connection with. Kite is the closest thing there is, and Kite is willing to just enable Rin to the ends of the earth to get his revenge. It wouldn't have been a bad thing for Rin to have remained cut off from the Phoenix. It wouldn't have been a bad thing for Rin. And Kite probably knew that better than anyone else. Kite was the one who was most upset that she destroyed Mugen, but now that Kite is feeling the vengeance himself, he is ready to buy Rin all the spiritual heroin she needs.
He wants to know, can she do that again if necessary?
Yeah.
Can we go to Spear and maybe blow up Hesperia? And also, can we blow up Nikara? And maybe the hinterlands? Like, how many countries can we possibly blow up?
Well, and I totally get it. Because like I said at the beginning, where do you go from here?
You blow up more countries. I just said that.
Well, you almost, burn down the world and start over.
Yeah, it's a phoenix. We already covered this. Burn the world to ashes, and then from the ashes, Rin can do basically the equivalent of Fallout set in this fantasy world. RF Kuang could sell that idea to Bethesda or Obsidian and make some games off it. I'm just saying.
The only problem is all the people who are going to be caught up in this who just kind of wanted to live their lives and don't really care who's in charge.
They shouldn't have been living their lives in proximity to Rin. That's on them for being born.
It's not even Rin. I mean, in the first book, it was very easy to blame Rin and the Empress and these individuals. But in the second book, the systems become apparent. I'll continue
to blame individuals. Well, I'm willing to not look any further than let's just remove this despot and everything will be okay.
I was going to say, you can swap the cast of characters around all you want, but the script is going to stay the same. The geopolitical situation is what it is, and people will fill those niches. We have to change. We have to burn it all down and build a whole new system if you want to fix it.
Yeah, and every time the system fails, you just keep burning it down. Like, that just needs to be built into your constitution. If there's ever a vote of no confidence, we just burn you all to death and start all over.
That's the Phoenix Republic. But yeah, you were about to tell me why Nezha was very positive about refugees and Rin was not.
Actually, it wasn't about refugees, it was about the South. He says, you're just throwing our allies to the wolves. Does no one realize how horrific this is? Because basically Visor's like, yeah, your armies are going to stay here and defend Arlong. You're not going back south because you can't beat the Muganese. So you're going to help us defend Arlong. Then we'll do something about those darn Muganese. and Nezha's like, that's horrific. And Rin is like, look, man, I'm just following orders. Like, she almost says that exact thing. I'm just following orders.
Yeah. I do like that about Rin. That is one of the most unlikable things about Rin, actually. And when Chagan called her out for it and she kind of denied it, was like, you only follow orders. The only orders you follow are when you don't want the heat from having to make the decision.
Yeah. She purposefully takes a soldier position rather than a commander position when she's part of Jinja's fleet. But now she wants a seat at the table with Vizra. She wants to be promoted back to her rank as a commander and to reinstate the Psyche.
Of all 2 remaining members of the Psyche.
Hey now, there's 3. One of them just isn't a shaman. He makes bombs out of poop.
He does. The comedic relief that it's kind of out of place in this. I guess that he represents like the gallows humor of the battlefield, but yeah, all of his scenes were weird. He was funnier in the first book. In this book, it was just like Ram said, now's not the time. I'm not ready for that, right? I don't like poop bomb. Yeah, I got to. We were talking about like actual real genocide two seconds ago, man.
Yeah, but you know, poop bomb.
Yeah, that'll beat the Illustrated Man, I guess. That's gonna be my metaphor for every time somebody wants me to laugh when I don't feel like laughing.
Oh, it's funny. There's refugees. We're basically preparing for death. We've got to delay this navy as long as possible to buy time to build up fortifications because we don't have really a military. So not compared to them anyway. So we're gonna mine the waters, load the river with obstacles, including a symbolic sinking of Jinja's unfinished warship. And Neja's gonna go man a small fort on the river so that we could buy time. So they go do that, and meanwhile, Kesigi?
I said
Rin's brother. Rin's brother lures her to some shady-looking warehouses where the southern warlords are waiting for her, and they're begging her to defect. They're like, hey, Vizra will betray you. He's definitely not going to give back power once he has it. Also, the Hesperians that he's working with aren't going to let him give back power. Obviously, duh. Like, he's not going to need you after this. Once you do what he needs, he will sell you out to the Hesperians. He'll sell our nation out to the Hesperians. They don't even think we're people. You should come with us to fight in the south. And Rin is like, no, we can't do that because we don't have the power to defeat the Mugen without Vizra.
Yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and take that pin back out. What the hell was this? What the hell was this? Where did this come from?
Yeah, Vizra seems pretty on the level. Where did this come from?
No, I mean, they went to... We've already established, or it feels like we've already established, that the South is only here, even though all of the leaders wanted to leave, basically said they were going to leave if Vizra didn't do what they wanted them to do. And Vizra
called their
bluff. And it turned out it was a bluff because they knew they couldn't win. And now here they are. They're like, we could win if we all just took off.
Well, no, what they did, the old football metaphor, we can win as long as we get our star quarterback Rin. If Rin decides to join up with us, sign an exclusive 5-year contract, we will be able to score touchdown after touchdown on the Muganese and also on Vizra and also on the Empress because no one's going to like us.
I could tell you, as somebody who's been following Rin's journey, I am overburdened with the amount of winning Rin has done. Everyone,
like Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, everyone around Rin is just very alive right now. And
Definitely not half burned to death or completely burned to death.
I understand that Rin has become something of a folk hero, and that makes sense because the ban on not knowing what shamans are is gone. Everybody knows about shamans now, so Rin is a superhero to the people of the South. She comes from Rooster Province, so people see her as a Southerner, and they're ready to rally behind their superpowered Southern folk hero. The only problem is she's a terrible leader, and
she still has members of the Psych alive right now at this part in the book where I have stopped reading so far.
She's a terrible leader. She's not in full control of her powers.
That's not true. She has Kite to do all the heavy lifting.
But
she doesn't need to control them. That's all Kite's job.
But she still can't access the power that destroyed Mugen.
That's because she hasn't gone to the temple. Just go to the temple. Easy. Done. Plus, to be fair, no one actually knows that she doesn't have that power except for her and Kite.
I would imagine, based on the fact that she's about to lose a war, they suspect she doesn't have that power anymore. Also, she told everyone she doesn't have that power anymore.
Did she actually tell everyone?
Yeah.
Ah, you idiot.
Well,
you never tell anyone that you spent your nuclear arsenal.
You'd have to, because why would they be thinking about defecting if she was just going to nuke the fleet?
Because they're not very bright. I don't know. It seems like these Southern warlords are not quite thinking realistically. Because, yes, they bluffed to Viceroy, and Viceroy's like, okay, fine, leave. You're all going to die. And they're like, well, we'll stay. We'll stay, but we're not going to like it.
This was one where I don't fully understand. And it's tough. I feel like so much of this episode, I'm reluctant to give a real opinion because I don't know where the third book is going. And I think there's a solid chance a lot of these concerns are going to be addressed. But Rin is a horrible leader. Rin is supposedly a military and academic genius, but she has done nothing but make bad decision after bad decision. She's way too impulsive. She's way too angry and out of control. Even after she has her kind of spiritual awakening, she bonds with Kite and she gets some control over the Phoenix. She's still incredibly impulsive. And I just don't think Kite is a good leader. Like, Kite is a good strategist. So maybe the combination of Kite and Rin, maybe that bond is where the third book is going. That if you have Kite and Rin combined into sort of one entity, then maybe it makes sense as the leader of a revolution. But
they need to just learn the fusion dance.
Well, I would say they're kind of already like, I don't know, one spirit maybe. So maybe it's not just going to be a one-way street. Maybe eventually Kite can influence Rin as much as Rin is dominating Kite's personality right now. But I don't know. I just don't know where this plan comes from. It was weird to spend so much time talking about how weak the South is, and then to say, you know, what the South lacks in material and training,
trained soldiers.
Yeah, we make up for in sheer number of bodies. We have a huge population.
Comrade.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them. We'll take our farming implements and we will throw wave after wave of men at any army that comes after us until there is nothing but the bodies of our enemies and also a lot of our own people.
Yeah.
If we throw 100,000 men against your 10,000 men and everyone dies except for one person on our side, we held the field, therefore we won that battle.
Well,
That's how it works.
I mean, that is how it can work. And I understand the historical references she's making here.
Does the South have a really horrible winter by any chance? And like a really rainy season where it's hard to transport stuff across the country?
I'd imagine they have the rainy season. I don't think they have snow. I think they were pretty clear about
That's going to
that.
be difficult to pull off then. Well, luckily, it's going to be hard to take the South because there's no food to forage because all of it was poisoned.
Which does kind of make your giant population a little bit of a
Eat
mixed
each other.
blessing. Yeah. Well, then you're not going to have a huge. You're going to have at least half, right? or
Well,
maybe 2/3.
That's why you got guys go kill the enemy because you can eat the enemy. Now you've got a ravenous, hungry army that's hungry for victory and also human flesh.
I almost think we're just gonna have to. We're just gonna have to say that this is a point I'm interested in exploring further after I've read the third book, because
Okay.
it could very well be that all my concerns are going to be addressed. So far, whenever she's done something that I thought was weird or questionable, she is going somewhere with it. So I am willing to give the benefit of the doubt, and like I said before, I think we need to read The Burning God sooner rather than later.
February of next year.
February, my birth month.
Oh yeah, and then Rin has it out with her brother, and that ends with her killing that Hesperian rapist that we talked about earlier. I don't really need to go into further detail with that, do I?
No, she's now racked up 2 Hesperian kills, which is probably enough to... All you really need to remember, we'll emphasize it one more time, the Hesperians are supposed to be untouchable. Killing one of them means she gets caught. There's basically no way out of this for her.
And killing 3 more means she's on a killing
spree.
Is that like an Unreal Tournament Quake reference?
Halo.
Halo, okay. Right.
I can see why you don't know that, because, you've never had 5 in a row. So, also we learned that Viceroy plans on betraying Moog. Like, once he wins, she's done. They're going to eliminate her. So Rin decides to send a message to Moog to let her know this, because she wants Moog to join her, because Rin is starting to come around to the idea, the ludicrous idea, I should say, of Viceroy being maybe not on the level. Maybe he will just grab power and sell Rin out to the Hesperians.
Also, Viceroy had to betray Moog because Rin needed to be on a boat at the end of the book. I don't know. I thought Moog coming back was a little... I think the whole Moog subplot probably doesn't need to be there. But anytime the book needs to tread water and dump a little exposition for a minute, Moog.
Well, she also meets up with Nezha, and she wants to make amends, but accidentally calls him a cowardly piece of shit, piece of garbage. You're not even using your shaman power. And then she's like, Nezha, or maybe it was in part 2, but at some point she does say, Nezha, hey, come with me. I can train you to control your powers. And Nezha's like, you mean like how you can control yours so well?
Yeah, no, Rin is not somebody I would consider to be like a teacher. I do remember at the time she said that to Nezha, she had no powers whatsoever.
Ah, that's funny. So this is a part where she's just like, you're a cowardly piece of shit. You should use your powers. We can win if we have fire and water on our side, because all they have is air, and no one has earth. So, we've got 2 out of 4. So they
The Avatar: The Last Airbender reboot no one was expecting. Aang is reincarnated and he's pissed.
So, and also, I guess I need to mention Alton one more time. Rin has his trident melted down to his sword. Fuck you, Alton. You suck. Even your weapon sucks.
Good. Yeah, good for you. Take the power back. I hate Alton.
Yeah, Alton sucks.
I hated Alton from the minute I saw him. I was like, that guy. Screw that guy. That's what I said.
Garbage. All right. So, is there anything left before we get into the final battle?
No.
All right. The Imperial Navy, it's coming in. The refugees, they're
going out.
and the battle's actually, it's designed for there to be several sub-bosses before we get to the main event. First...
It has an impeccable game design.
Yes, it does. Rin and Kite have developed a flying suit that uses her heat to raise and lower. So Rin is basically the Air Force here, dropping bombs on enemy ships as they come closer to the gates of the city. And she then has to rescue Neja, who is in fierce combat against first June. Neja basically defeats June on his own, I think. But June, he gets away because he's got to be in the third book. He's got to be in every book. He's contractually obligated to continue to show up.
He's the biggest star we had.
Yeah. Well, he had that amazing quote, "Get the f*** out of my gym." And he's just been coasting off of that. So June escapes. I guess he swims away during a naval fight.
With one hand.
With one hand. But now that June is out of the picture, it's time for the Wolf Meat General, Chang En. Oh yeah! And the last time we saw this guy, he was killing people left and right and supposedly eating people. So, this guy is a badass motherfucker. And also, apparently, Jinja's master? I don't know, man.
Yeah, that came out of left field.
That came out of nowhere.
Because it seems like the guy was like always some kind of criminal or something.
Yeah, he seemed like a mercenary type criminal who just seized power.
So how did he come to train the son of a noble? Like, yeah, because he seized power in his province. He was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The former warlord died in the Poppy War, and he was like, well, I'm the only one with an army, so I'm now your ruler. If you don't like it, we'll kill and eat you too.
Yeah, that was weird.
So, yeah, that was weird.
I'm waiting for the short story where we get that origin.
Chang En of Poppy. Of Nakara, I guess, is what it would be.
Kevin J. Anderson is available for a console. Yeah.
Written by Kevin J. Anderson. And, I don't know, RF Kuang, do you have any, like, cousins or something that...
that you hate?
Yeah. They'll write it, and there'll be a graphic novel of Chang En's rise to power that we really needed to make this entire book work. So he manages to concuss Rin. He's actually pressing the advantage against Neja as well. But together they unite and they burn him to death. And I think Neja beheads him after he's done being burned.
No, he stabs him in the eye first. I remember that. They burn him, God. And then Neja stabs him in the eye and like pulls his eye out on the end of his blade, and then he kills him.
Yeah, you need that extra little oomph. Like, now I stabbed you in the eye. I pulled the eye out of your head so that you can watch me behead you.
Yep.
But then, now that the two minor league sub bosses have been defeated, suddenly there's no wind. The wind has stopped, Ben. And wouldn't you know, Fei Lin has showed up, as we knew he would. And he's throwing boats up against the cliffs. He's flying around. He's cackling like a crazy person. And Rin, she goes up to meet him. I don't know why she thought she could beat the Wind Master in the sky, but she had really no choice. Luckily,
okay, let's keep going.
Luckily, she could exploit his one weakness, which is his fear of Daji. And Daji was like, you can't kill Rin. Like, they know this. They figured that out. And so, as Rin is getting the shit kicked out of her, she's like, well, you know you can't kill me, right? And he's like, oh shit, I can't kill you. Oh god. And Rin starts pressing up against him, like, come on, fight me, motherfucker, fight me! And she gets him up on the cliff. I forgot to mention Venka entirely, but Venka's there as air support. Whoops. And
we'll go back and talk about Venka.
Yeah, and Kite has prepared some bombs on the cliff. And right when they get him in position, boom! Rin lights the bombs, the entire cliff collapses onto him, and I'm guessing also onto some boats and to maybe houses and stuff below. I don't know. An entire cliff basically falls on this guy and just buries him alive forever because he can't die, so he's just gonna stay there forever. What are your thoughts, Ben? You seem to want to talk about this guy.
Fei Lin? Actually, no, I don't want to talk about Fei Lin.
Oh, you wanted to talk about something. What's up?
Okay, this is one complaint I think I have about the book, or just one like minor thing I didn't like. It's not even really a complaint. I don't like Rin's flying suit. I think that's dumb.
Is it dumber than a bucket of water?
It's up there, actually, for
okay.
me. I would have found it more interesting if she could fly due to some phoenix power or something, some way Kite figured out how to use the phoenix power. That Kite built a flying contraption in 5 minutes. It's very like Bat Cave kind of like moment where, here, Rin, I constructed a flying device because I'm the smart guy, and the smart guy's smart at everything, and he can smart his way to inventions, and like, I don't know. It was weak.
Yeah.
It was the most like, it was a very like young adult novel moment in this book about the horrors of war.
Well, wouldn't it be horrible if someone were flying around in essentially an air balloon strapped to their body, dropping bombs on you? I think that would be pretty horrible. Ben.
Yeah, it would, but can't she just have like phoenix wings and fly? I mean,
no, not allowed.
Like, we were
She
concerned
gets the power
about
of fire, not flight.
Yeah, we're concerned about the realism of,
Yes, of a phoenix, a real creature.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the flying machine was a little silly, and I thought the whole fight with Fei Lin was a little silly. It felt like something she had to do. Like, it felt like you've got a Marvel movie or something like that. I'm trying to remember one of the Marvel movies that had like a more intelligent plot. But
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I didn't see it, actually. But
I didn't see it either.
You know, you've got a superhero movie or something like that, and it actually winds up having a very interesting story and all that stuff. But then at the end, it remembers it's a superhero movie, and
we have to have you fight a villain.
There has to be a big fight. There has to be a big special effects fight, and that's what this was. It seemed like the least interesting part of the book, and probably the part of the book she was least interested in writing. Like, Rin had to fly because she had to fight Fei Lin, and he was just going to stay in the air, so she had to get up there and fight him somehow. Flying contraption, like, it I don't know. It just, one minute you've got Venka, the victim of rape, who had like a back alley abortion because abortion was illegal, and she has this relationship now with her family where she's an outcast, and she's also slightly crippled from her injuries. Her one arm doesn't work very well. Nobody wants to let her fight anymore. Nobody wants to let her do anything. They're acting like her life is over. She's sick of it. Rin gives her a second chance to join the psych. That's why Venka's there. And it's actually a big payoff to what I thought was kind of a weird moment. Like, Venka sort of comes out of nowhere in the beginning of the book, but then they wind up doing all this stuff with her. And so I thought it was actually a pretty interesting story thread. So you've got all that stuff going on with Venka, all that very serious, like, real world stuff going on with Venka. And then Ren is flying around like Batman with the cape, with the electro cape. And it was just like weird. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm probably the only one that felt that way. But I did not care about Phelan. I kind of wished he would just go away.
Well, he did.
I don't know. What do you think?
There.
What do you think about the powers and stuff in this one?
Ben, I, unlike you, don't necessarily like a good old romp into human misery. I like to break it up a little bit. I liked when Kite said that they got high and drank horse urine to become better shaman.
I didn't mind that.
I thought that was a nice little moment to a little bit of levity to cut through some of the misery, to show that, like, maybe it would be nice if, like, things weren't horrible all the time for these people.
Well,
it would be nice if Rin weren't just constantly suffering trauma and abuse forever, and it's pretty obvious that she will probably die in the next book, and that kind of sucks because she never got to live a life free of that shit. So I didn't mind the superpowered fight.
You're misunderstanding my intentions here a little bit. Okay, I'm not saying, like, first off, I liked the spirit binding ritual. I like it when the powers are symbolic of something.
Yeah. And this fight is symbolic of Rin beating someone at their own game.
Yeah. I just thought, like, what is Phelan? Phelan is, I guess it establishes that Rin got her shaman powers back. I mean, that's the only thing it really establishes. I guess it establishes that Rin maybe can be a force.
Let's look
powerful
at it as
enough
a
to fight this war.
Okay. Phelan is what happens when the god takes over your body and you become a crazy person. Rin is showing you that she's above that.
Rin is what happens when a crazy person takes over a god.
Yeah. Rin's the god now.
You're trapped in here with me, Phoenix. I'm not trapped in here with you.
I know she's not going to say that in the next book, but I'll give bonus points if she does.
No, I didn't hate it. I just thought the flying machine was silly. That's when it went, like, full young adult story
guess
for me.
What? Kite's still around, and I bet he's going to make more machines, Ben.
It seemed like...
Maybe he should make a Panzer II.
I'll tell you why I didn't like it. I'll tell you why
Or a T-34, comrade.
I didn't think it was the best way to showcase Kite's contribution to the Spirit Link.
Well, like I said, Ben, when they do this live action, he'll be screaming in the background.
No, I thought it would be better if Rin maybe got some information through the Spirit Link, the way Chagan and Kara used to seem to think each other's thoughts and recognize what each other were doing. like if she got a little bit of Kite's discipline
So
from the link.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like perhaps Kite has laid eyes upon Fei Lin, and Rin can see through his eyes to throw a knife, or I mean, throw a fireball at him.
You know, I realized what you were doing halfway through saying that, but before I did, I was
what
about
I'm doing.
I was about to say like, yeah, that'd work. I don't know. It's like Kite has never invented machines. I guess he has. He figured out the mines and stuff. But I don't know. Kite's strength seemed to be as a strategist, not as a like weapons manufacturer.
Ben, I know we already have a bet for the next book, so I'm not going to throw on anything more. I just have to ask, do you think they will capture one of the Hesperian flying machines, and Kite will find a way to repair it or build one of his own?
I think they stand a good chance of that. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't bet against it. No. They almost have to.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Well, the Hesperian flying machines, really, I think Kite probably has it figured out. Like, he understands the dynamic of hot air rises. So the only real challenge here is material. Can he get the stuff to build it?
Do those flying machines run on hydrogen? Because if so, that is going to be bad for them.
That's a good point. That's what we need. That's the imagery the next book needs. It's just a million Hindenburgs. That'll really cement Rin as the hero of the people.
All right. Anything
I just want to see Rin burning Christians in their own balloon.
Anything more on this battle before we go to the ending of it?
No, I think it's just the big superhero battle.
So Rin, her flying machine is broken, and also pieces of it are embedded in her body. She crashes into the river, and she's like, you know what? It'd be okay if I were to die here. But we know that there's a third book, so get out of the water, Rin.
We also know that you'll kill Kite if you do that. Ren, which you didn't even think.
Even think about it.
Never entered her mind that if she died in that water, Kite was dead too.
Yeah, he'll be drowning on land.
Rin
How shitty would that be?
Is a terrible friend. Like, that's what I mean when I say the flying machine was a shitty contribution. I don't... Unless Kuang is trying to establish that Rin is an absolute garbage person, the fact that Rin never thinks about what Kite has done for her, and like she never really seems to grasp the full weight of what Kite has done for her. Kind of.
She's just a means to her power.
Yeah, I mean, I like Rin less with every action she takes.
Well, buckle up.
Yeah.
Because now, after Neja saves her, he's like, I can't stop. I can't control it. And she's like, don't worry. I've just got tons of opium. Or maybe he had the opium. And she just feeds him tons of opium. I guess she realizes, like, well, you've been stabbed through the abdomen and mustard gassed. You probably won't die of an overdose. Eat this.
Well, he can't die, right? The dragon keeps him alive.
Yeah, exactly. I think she realizes, like, you can't die. Here, eat an entire what, rock of opium? I don't know how you measure opium, man.
Nugget.
A bowl.
Nug.
A nug. An opium nug. So that's when Daji approached. Now, I was actually thinking, like, how are they going to work Daji into this? Because
there she is.
Why wouldn't she just hang out at her palace? Why would she personally lead the troops? But she did. That was weird.
Yep.
So then Daji beats her ass for a moment, but then Rin goes into Ultra Instinct mode, which is where she just runs on adrenaline, and she's covered in Phoenix Fire, and she disables Daji, and she starts burning her face, and Daji's like, don't you want to know my story before I die? And Rin's like,
I kind of do.
Yes, I do. God damn it. All right, fine. Show me your story. And it's like the Muganese were actually protecting Nikaran civilians from being raped by Hesperians, and like Hesperia is actually horrible, like even worse than they already have been. And again, this brings us back to like, why didn't you just show her this in part 1 and we could have avoided this entire book? Dodgy, you idiot.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. A little bit of we couldn't have this conversation so the plot would happen.
Yeah, because if she would have just said, here, I'm going to show you this vision. Here's the reason why I did all those things. I know you don't like what I did. I know I cost you the life of Alton. To be fair, Alton's a piece of shit, and the world's better off without him. But, like, I get why you're mad. Here's why I did it.
To be fair, she was the one that got Alton addicted to opium.
To be fair, fuck Alton.
Yeah, I'm not saying Alton's a good guy, but I am saying she's a lot of the reason he was a bad guy.
Well, you're probably right. And I'm not saying that she's a good guy. But I am saying that between her and the Hesperians, she's probably just like a slight notch better. Just slightly. In the sense that at least she cares about some of her people, where the Hesperians don't even see them as people. Like, yeah, okay, she was prepared to sell out 75% of her country, but she still won 25%, you know.
Well,
Hesperia,
no, she was going to seduce the Emperor, kill him, and then she'd have Mugen and Nikara.
Yeah, easy.
In retrospect,
She should have told the psych.
Yeah, I mean,
When Alton was like, I'm going to go to the Chulu Korik to release these guys, do you think this is a good idea? She probably shouldn't have been like, yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm going to go call up the Muganese to go capture you. She should have been like, no, that's really dumb. Just come back here. Let me tell you my plan. Like, we're going to win the war. It's just going to take a little while.
Well, she had to sell out the shaman. I think that was part of the Mugen conditions.
She didn't have to sell all of them out. She could have held some of them back.
Alton, give me your 5 least favorite soldiers.
Including yourself, Alton. You're garbage.
Again, it brings me back to the question of, like, who has the better plan here? Like, who is the right choice for Nikara? If this was
Rin is the right choice, as we're going to find out.
She. We'll see, I suppose. I mean, I feel like I'm at, like, if I was playing this video game and I had to make this choice right now of, like, which faction do I go with?
Well, hold on, Ben. Here's the analogy, okay? Nikara is a human body, and the Empress, Muganese, Hesperians, and Visera are all cancer, and Rin is the chemotherapy.
That's not a bad analogy, actually. I think that does accurately sum up the political situation in this book.
You know, the organism of Nikara is going to be in a really bad position, but at the end of it, hopefully it won't have all this cancer.
Yeah, a lot of these cells are going to die.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because we got more. Unless we don't.
So I guess Dodgy's still alive, though, because Dodgy's like, when you decide who you really want to fight for, come find me. And then a fucking ship mast falls on her as she screams. But her body is never found. So I guess she's still alive, even though her face has been melted and a ship mast fell on her.
Yeah, I'm guessing the implication there is she's got like a Nezha thing going on.
Yeah, that's the only way I can.
Yeah.
So, and then the Hesperians, they're coming over the horizon, so the battle's pretty much over. They're gonna save the day while Rin passes out Bilbo style.
Okay. Bilbo style.
Next up, there's a war parade that's mostly just about honoring the sacrifices we all made, and then we learn that the Imperial forces suffered a really bad outbreak of malaria. I Don't know why they needed to add that, but they did. And So Lin is put on trial, and he is given the option of ritualistic suicide if he repents, but instead he's like, nah, you sold us out to the White Devil, bro, and he gets burned to death.
Okay.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I guess you're not wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what he says. I'm keeping that in. As a white guy myself, I can say that.
I can say White Devil. Okay. I just didn't know how real you wanted to get.
Yeah, we're in a pretty real situation. So yeah. Then Rin, she's healing from her wounds, and she's like, sooner or later, he's gonna sell us out, Visor is, to the Hesperians. And I was like, what? No way! Visor is gonna sell you out? But yeah, turns out he is. So she tells the other psych, all three of them, we're gonna escape at the break of dawn. We're gonna meet up over on yonder mountains, and then we're gonna run away. That's our plan. In the meantime, while you guys are on patrol duty, I'ma get shit-faced with my good friends Kite, Neja, and Venka. Nothing wrong here with having a great drink. And now that I think about it, this isn't super important, but if Kite and Rin are both drinking, do they feel each other's drinks as well? And it just compounds the amount of drinking in their systems?
I don't know. Because they do feel each other being drugged.
Yeah, that's interesting. I bet they do.
Yeah, I bet they do.
But they all have a good laugh. These four friends, they've been through it all. They've been through thick and thin. They're best friends forever. God damn it. I can't wait till they all leave together and they have a happy ending. And then Kite and Venka are like, we're gonna leave now because we're a little bit tipsy. And also, I think Rin and Neja, they might have a thing going on. So they go down to the docks or something, and Neja's like, Hesperia's kind of afraid of this whole shaman thing. They saw Fei Lin destroy an entire navy, and they heard reports of you blowing up an entire island. So they're kind of afraid, rightfully a little bit. So they're gonna make it so that it's against the law to be a shaman, and you'll be safe as long as you don't do that. And Rin's like, I just got the power back. I'm going to kill everyone. I'm going to make an army of shaman, Neja. I am going to go on a horrible burning streak. No one can stop me. Hesperians can't stop me. Oh God, what is this? What is this in my back? Neja, did you stab me in the back?
Can we talk?
Literally and metaphorically?
I was going to say, this was another point where I laughed out loud. Okay. I didn't laugh out loud until Rin woke up in a cell. Rin wakes up in a cell because Neja has sold her out. He was bait to capture her, right? But RF Kuang came dangerously close to falling off her own edge here, as she used Neja stabbing Rin in the back as a metaphor for Neja stabbing Rin in the back. Neja did not intend to kill Rin when he stabbed her in the back, as one might assume from the action of stabbing her in the back.
Let's also reiterate that she has pieces of glider embedded in her back still.
So
she's grievously wounded.
Neja was trying to incapacitate Rin. And Nate, I don't want to be crass here, but there are other ways to render unconscious a person whom you've been plastering with alcohol all night. Not the least among them is the good old bonk on the head.
I bonk on the head.
More alcohol, perhaps.
More alcohol, some sort of other chemical that would, like some sleeping draught or something.
Put in the alcohol? Yeah.
Yeah, there were a million ways that didn't involve stabbing her in, which could have easily killed her.
But then we wouldn't have the physical metaphor,
We wouldn't have
the literal metaphor.
Here is how this is going to be shot when this is adapted one day. They are going to be standing on a pier. The moon backlighting them so that they're in silhouette. Their lips almost touching in a close-up. And then, all of the sudden, Rin lets out a gasp, and we see Nezha with his hand on the knife in her back. It is going to be an incredible artistic shot. But there's still another book, so Rin's going to wake up in a cell. I just had a really cool idea for a shot, and I was going to use it, goddammit. It doesn't matter if it makes 0 sense to have stabbed Rin.
Maybe Nezha thought, like, well, I can't seem to die. Maybe Rin won't die either. I'm willing to take that risk.
You know, you could be entirely correct in that. You could be entirely correct in saying that he believed Rin would just heal. I don't know why, though,
But
because
she's already grievously injured and hasn't healed yet.
I don't know. Maybe Rin can't die either. I don't know. Maybe that's what they were going for. I didn't get that at all.
I didn't get that at all either. I don't think that's actually true. I don't think that's correct. I doubt that's what he actually thinks.
I don't know why she was stabbed, other than it was a really cool scene to write. In a way that roofing her would not have been a really cool scene to write.
I don't know. You could have made that kind of like, and like Nezha's voice became more distant, and the world was starting to blur together. And Rin looked down at her hands, and they were limp at her side, and all she remembers hearing was like, "Shh," from Nezha.
Nate, there is no better way to illustrate stabbing someone in the back than to stab them in the back from the front. Because that's the other thing. They're like hugging. They're like almost about to kiss. And then he stabs her in the back from the front. So it was very deviant art. I can imagine fan art of this scene. It was very emo. Fortunately, I was an emo kid. It stuck the landing, but it wobbled a little. But I was okay with it. I would set Linkin Park as a backing track to this.
But yeah, so anything more before she wakes up in a cell? Alright, Rin wakes up in a cell, and Nezha's shitty, god-awful mom is there. She's like, I'm here to make you watch. And Rin's like, watch what? And then outside, the 2 of Psych members, the adult ones, the ones that are actually Psych, they're beheaded. And Rin has to watch. And then I'm pretty sure that Nezha's mom says something like racist or against religion or both. And the sister comes in and is like, I thought I could redeem you, but you're beyond redemption. And Rin scares him away with funny fire, and General Tarket, who I haven't even mentioned by name, but he's the lead Hesperian, and Visra come in, and Tarket's like, we're gonna take you to our Mengele lab for experimentation. Ha 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 ha! I'm a good person. And then Rin tries to sell out Nezha, and Visra, I guess they laugh it off, and then Visra is like, he basically admits he sent his sons down to that cave so that one of them would get shaman powers, so he sold all of his sons out, and then Kite carves in a question on where Rin is into his arm so that she could respond back, and they do a jailbreak by stomping the shit out of Rin's hand to get it out of a lock. Yeah. Visra has arrested 2 of the Southern warlords, and Rin, Kite, Venka They all escape as Neja just kind of watches them leave, neither stopping nor joining them. And Nicara is basically a colony. I didn't see this coming. I thought Bowser really had the will of the people at heart, but I guess he didn't. I'm no longer Team Visra.
Oh, who are you going to vote for?
I'm gonna vote for, I guess, the Southern people. Is that who? That's the war that we've drawn up all of a sudden. The North versus the South. The aristocracy versus the poor people.
Yeah.
She's gonna bring in communism without knowing what communism is.
There's the Dragon Party and the Phoenix Party, and you can vote for one. So are you voting Phoenix or Dragon?
I'm gonna vote Green Party.
You're just gonna throw your vote away?
Yes.
Just gonna throw your vote away on Kite? Kite is running on a platform of fiscal responsibility and economic reforms. Everybody's like, get out.
Yeah, that's not what we need right now. We need a third war in like 3 years.
You know what's good for the economy? War. I mean, not a civil war, but...
Which is what we have.
Yeah,
Oops.
that's... Whoops.
And
Maybe
yeah, the idea is the South just has tons and tons of people, so here's some farming implements, go get them. I think they basically say, like, and when those guys fall, we'll have 1,000 more people behind them, or 10,000 more people behind them, or whatever. We're just going to keep sending bodies at the enemy.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I understand the historical parallels, and I understand why that would be a factor, because... Well, I was going to say, this is a problem a lot of people have failed to understand in a lot of foreign wars, shall we say, is when you're fighting somebody in their home country, like if the Hesperians go after the Nicarans, to keep the metaphor, the Nicarans have nowhere to go. So, yeah, obviously they're going to fight to the last man, because what else can they do?
And I'm sure the Hesperians won't treat the populace nicely, so they will create a ton of partisans behind enemy lines who are willing to sabotage and destroy and kill.
Yeah. Like, all the Nicarans have to do is guerrilla warfare and wait. And will the Hesperians tire first? Spoiler, yeah, they will. I really don't know how this is going to end. Because I really...
With a glorious revolution by Rin, the southern populace, they're going to overthrow their northern aristocracy. They're going to seize the means of production. Da, da, da.
I don't get the vibe that this is necessarily like a pro CCP book. Like I don't necessarily think that Kuang is a fan of the single party state.
Well, why not? A single party state is the least open to corruption.
But that's my point. I mean, I think Kuang acknowledges some of the flaws of that. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I wonder if it's just going to parallel reality, where it moves into the complicated situation in China in the 21st century, or is it going to have some fantasy ending where a new government is set up and it's just good?
Yeah, from each according to his ability, to each according to their needs.
Assuming we're operating in an industrialized nation, which we are not.
Well, collectivize the farming.
Okay. I mean, people are used to not having much food, so...
Yeah.
I guess the one final thought I have, and I'm going to echo our final thoughts from the Poppy War, is I am a little lost in the metaphor, and I am not really reading this as a fantasy book. I find myself doing the English class thing of trying to figure out, okay, what does this mean? Who does Nezha represent? Who's Shanghai Czech in this metaphor? Who's Mao?
Who are the Bolognians? That's what I want to know.
I'm
more
gonna
than
guess.
anything.
I'm gonna guess Russia. But this is an interesting part. The last time I read The Poppy War, I wound up reading at least another 2 nonfiction books about Chinese history, and I feel like I need to read several more. That's why I say I'm getting lost in the analogy. I just sort of need to educate myself. That's the one thing I've realized talking about this is I'm sure there are more interesting perspectives on this than mine. I can only offer mine, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think when we do Burn in God, I'm going to pitch this now. You let me know what you think. Listeners, weigh in on this if you would like. Burn in God, I kind of expect that to be a proper book club. Like, I'm going to say minimal summary. Let's just dive into it. What we thought, how it turned out, what we think the metaphors are, because I feel like there's going to be a ton going on in the Burning God that we need to talk about. I don't think we're going to have time to do like a full summary. I'm going to call you to some action, guys. Go talk about it.
Buy us a copy. And then follow us on Facebook, wherever the hell that is, like group. Add us at Twitter at WABpod. If you want to see additional show notes and content and whatever, we're at blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja. Instagram maybe coming soon.
You did good, except you didn't say where to buy the coffee.
buymeacoffee.com/WABpod.
There you go. We're also on Twitch at twitch.tv/wordsaboutbooks. We stream every Monday.
All right. Nate out.
Garbage day.